Hello my book loving friends, today is a very special video. I am going to be showing you not my 5-star reads, but my 6-star reads. I'll give a book 5 stars because I loved it and thought it was perfect, but some 5-star reads stand out from their peers and just hit a certain spot in my heart, and thus don't deserve just 5 stars. So this video is going to be a comprehensive list of the favorite of my favorite books. Books that bring me so much serotonin just by thinking about them. So of course I recommend after this video that you go buy yourself these books so then we can be giddy over them together. Let's get into them. First I'm going to start with the one that I'm pretty sure was released most recently. This is also the only nonfiction that has been bestowed the Sara Elizabeth 6-star ranking. Wow, that sounded entitled. Who do I think I am? That is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This book has blown the internet up, and rightfully so. Jeanette delivered her story in such a beautiful and engrossing way that was not only sophisticated and vulnerable, but also humorous in some parts. One chapter could have you laughing out loud while the next leaving you heartbroken. Part of the reason why I personally loved this so much is because I was already pretty familiar with Jeanette McCurdy as an actress. I loved iCarly when I was younger. My college application essay even referenced how iCarly contributed to the start for my love for content creation. So Jeanette, in a way, even though she doesn't know it, has kind of influenced the trajectory of my life. This memoir is truly an excellent example of how you never really know what goes on behind closed doors. In this book, we follow chronologically Jeanette growing up as a child actor with an overbearing, manipulative mother. And throughout, we not only learn about the struggles she faced as a child star, but also the complicated relationship she had with her mother, whom at times she loved and hated. 10 out of 10 would recommend, even if you're not typically a nonfiction reader like myself. Next, we have the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie as a whole. And yes, I am addicted to these books. I've only read 3 out of the 5 books in the series so far, and I also cannot speak on behalf of the Calloway Sisters spin-off novels since I have not gotten to those yet. Actually, I'm currently reading Kiss the Sky. At this moment, I'm not exactly sure why we're kissing the sky. I can only conclude that it's because we're blowing a kiss to God, thanking him for that novel. But as for these books, they keep getting better and better. I did rate Addicted to You 4.5 stars, mainly because it was a bit slow as the characters were developing and the authors were setting up the story for what is to come. The next 2 though, 5 stars, no 6-star reads. And as a whole, I adore this series so much. It's unbelievable how the authors are able to form this deep connection between the characters and the readers. It's not like I feel like I know the characters. It's so much more than that. It's more so like I partially am the characters, if that makes sense. Because when you read these books, you submerge into the characters' minds and feel their emotions emanating off the pages as if they were your own. After each book, I always think, how in the world are the authors going to write a whole other novel surrounding the characters and the struggles they face? But then they do, and I love it, and my love for reading is revitalized each time. I think it's about time we talk about some Taylor Jenkins Reid now, an author who always knows how to make me feel something even on the grayest of days, like today. But right as I talk about TJR, the sun comes out. It's a sign from the heavens. I've been thinking about filming this video for months now, and I always knew that one of these books I'm gonna mention was going to be featured. But then last month I read TJR's latest release, and now I have a series issue because I am at a fork in the road trying to decide which one of these 2 I love more. Okay, that's a long enough intro. The 2 books in question are Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto's Back. Everyone is always like, oh my gosh, have you read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? That book is so great. What about Daisy Jones? That book is amazing. I'm here to tell you that yes, even though I love those books, Malibu Rising and Carrie Soto reign superior. I know that's gonna deeply upset some of you. It's okay though. It's okay to be wrong. I'm just kidding. But I will preach this till the day I die. What really makes a book a 6-star read for me is if I can't stop thinking about it months and months after reading it. I swear to you, I think about Malibu Rising weekly. Now, to get the most out of these books, I recommend that you read Malibu Rising before Carrie Soto, because Carrie's character is briefly seen in Malibu Rising. To be honest, when I first read about her in here, I initially thought, who is this chick? She seems a bit psychotic. Like, I wouldn't go about what she did the way she did it, but okay, to each their own. So when TJR wrote a whole separate book surrounding Carrie, I was understandably a bit apprehensive at first. Boy, was I wrong though. This is a great example of why we don't judge people based off of one impression. I love Carrie now and understand her on such a deep level, as deep as you can with the fictional character that is. In this book, we start off with following retired tennis legend Carrie Soto as she witnesses the destruction of her title as Grand Slam record holder. So as any true girl boss would do, she puts down her figurative cane and re-enters the competitive world of professional tennis at the age of 37 to prove that she is still the best tennis player the world world has ever seen. Even though Carrie may be a little hard-shelled on the outside, I loved having a main character that didn't try to play down their ambitions in the public eye when at the time there's this tremendous amount of pressure on women athletes to do so. There is a romantic side plot in the story, but my favorite relationship was between Carrie and her father, Javier. It was so endearing. In Malibu Rising, we follow the Riva siblings, Nina, Hud, Kit, and Jay, over 24 hours as they throw their annual end of summer party. But by morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames. Although the big question throughout is what led to this fateful outcome, the book itself focuses more on the characters' lives, the intergenerational trauma that took place, and the sibling dynamics. Every sibling you feel so much for, because in Taylor Jenkins Reid's signature style, she develops the characters so well. I really enjoyed how in the flashbacks we got to see the characters growing up, so it made it seem like we knew the characters their whole lives. This book is also very atmospheric. I read it in a literal blizzard, but in my head I was in Cali on the beach. I really want to reread this soon because honestly I miss it. My 1-year anniversary from first reading this is coming up in January, so maybe then we'll see. Okay, I have a fantasy book to talk about next. Have I recommended fantasy before? Yes, but it's a rare occurrence. Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron. This is a Cinderella retelling that follows what would happen if Cinderella died. Oh no, Cinderella. But I love that for me. The juxtaposition of taking a fairy tale and flipping the basic foundation of the world on its head. Amazing. This story takes place 200 years after Cinderella met her prince, and now in present day, teenage girls are required to attend an annual ball in which they are pursued in front of suitors looking for wives. Our protagonist is Sophie, who would much rather marry her childhood friend Erin, so she then flees the ball and finds herself in Cinderella's mausoleum, where she learns there's much more to Cinderella's tale than the kingdom knows. I not only love the nostalgic undertone throughout, but also the nuance and commentary on taboo topics. If you guys have any other fairy tale retellings, let your girl know, because something about them just does it for me. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This book made my heart swell with pure happiness. At its core, this is a story about two people with seemingly different lives trying to navigate this new relationship with each other that brings them so much joy, while also trying to uphold the obligations in their separate lives. Daniel is the most wholesome male love interest I have ever read. If Daniel were real, I would melt to the floor like the Wicked Witch of the West. This is my all-time favorite romantic comedy. The cover is stunning, the inside even more stunning. I'm gonna make this book the required reading for this video, and if I cannot make you read this, maybe this goat can. Yes, there is a goat that plays a prominent role in the story. Actually, you know, goats, they're kind of scary. I swear their munchers could take off a finger or something. I love this video because talking about all these books makes me so happy, especially Not a Happy Family by Sherry Lapina. Wow, I think that might be my worst transition yet. Guys, not only is this book a domestic thriller, but there's also rich people drama in here as well. The pettiness and the shadiness in the upper class I eat up. I could not put this book down. I just wanted to keep reading it so I could figure out this fucked up family. After finishing it, I immediately gave it to my mom to read because she loves a good thriller, and I can confirm it is Mom Elizabeth approved as well. In this book, we start off with knowing that Fred and Sheila Merton are found dead in their home the morning following an Easter dinner with their 3 adult kids. This brutal murder is no short on suspects though, because each kid has a motive for their parents' murder. They also all have secrets they're hiding and stand to inherit millions. So throughout the book, we follow the POVs of these 3 siblings in this dysfunctional family through the aftermath and the police investigation. This thriller was so well done, I kept flip-flopping who I suspected the killer being. This book made me fall in love with Sherry Lapina's writing style and voice. Also, this might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I love myself a good villain's monologue at the end. The one in here made me like gain some respect for the villain in a way, just because of how the character orchestrated everything and it was able to pull everything off. Next, I have 3 Colleen Hoover books to talk about. These are the books that have set the standard for any Colleen read. It Ends With Us, Reminders of Him, and Verity, of course. If these 2 books are 6 stars, Verity is 10 stars. This is for sure my all-time favorite Coho read. I keep like waving the books around. I'm just so excited. Man, I was not expecting what I was getting into when I read this book. It sure is a dark one. My reading experience of this book, I'm gonna say, is the best reading experience I've ever experienced. And of course, I'm gonna love Verity a little more than these other 2. I am a thriller girly at heart. Reminders of Him and It Ends With Us are technically romances, but I would argue that It Ends With Us is more of a literary fiction than a romance. I have not read It Starts With Us yet, the sequel to It Ends With Us, but from what I've heard, that book seems to be more of a romance than this first book. I love how both of these spark conversations about important topics that aren't really featured in literature much, from what I've seen at least and what I tend to read. It Ends With Us is such a poignant novel that talks about domestic abuse in an eye-opening way, and Reminders of Him explores problems many incarcerated women face. Okay, although Verity may not be as deep as these other two, it is such a roller coaster of a fun time. For any coho read, I would recommend that you look up trigger warnings beforehand because she does tend to explore heavy topics in her novels. Oh, I wanted to quickly mention Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, the third installment in the Twisted series. I liked the previous two novels in this series, but I love this one. No other book has done enemies to lovers better than this book. Jules and Josh literally have an enemies with benefits arrangement going on between them. I loved the banter between the characters. Jules was such a strong female lead. If I were you guys, I would read the previous two books in this series just so I could read this. I mean, I guess you don't necessarily have to read the other two because you could read this as a standalone, but the book will make a lot more sense and you'll get more out of it if you read the others first. My last book. I can't believe it, we're already on our last book, and we all knew this one was going to be on the list. Finley Donovan is Killing It by El Cosmano. Are we surprised in the slightest? No, I talk about this book at any chance I get. This has literally everything I love about books combined into one. It's funny, the characters are lovable, there's a romance side plot, the literal best friendship duo, Finley and Vero, friendship goals. I'm not gonna reiterate the synopsis again. I've already done so in a lot of my other videos, but this is such a fun book that will make you immediately want to go purchase the next book in the series. So just save yourself a trip to the bookstore and buy both of them at once. Although maybe you shouldn't, because 2 trips to the bookstore is better than 1 trip. So never mind. I am so invested in these characters and their lives. So El Cosmano, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to at least write 8 more books in the series. You know, just write 10 altogether to really round it out. I can promise you that you will at least have 1 reader. AKA. Okay, here are all of my 6-star reads. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about my all-time favorite books. If you don't like any of these, ouch, that kind of hurts my heart a little bit. I guess it's okay. But if you tell me, I will think you are lying to me, which is very mean of you, because I don't know how you can't just love every book here. Let me know down in the comments your 6-star reads. I can never have too many book recommendations. I love it when you guys decide what books for me to read because then I don't have to put in the mental work and decide for myself. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It really does help me, my channel out a lot. You can also comment, interact, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. I'd really appreciate it. I hope y'all are having a fantastic day and I will see you in my next video. Bye.